Well, good morning, Powermetrix Nation. Glad to be back from the break. We've got some pretty exciting stuff that we're going to show you guys and also talk to you about. We're kind of going a little renegade this morning. I just call it JP Magic. So JP has got us. We're actually broadcasting out of a hotel room from parts unknown. And because we're out in the field, and because this is part of this new series that we're doing. And so we're out here doing it actually from the hotel room because we'll be filming out in the field again tomorrow and Thursday. So what we've got is, we've been talking about it. If you've seen any of the little teasers that we've sent out, we've actually are doing live testing out in the field at a utility company, and we're doing everything from transformer inspections, site inspections, the actual testing. So it's a really good stuff. And before we get started up, though, you know what I like to do, and then I'll get all of this. We got a little housekeeping. We want to make sure everybody's getting on, and so we'll cover a lot of things. But first, I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we'll get rolling. Father, we unfortunately right now we're seeing, if we do watch the news, we're seeing a lot of racial tension and a lot of things going on in our country right now that aren't very pretty. And Father, if we are believers, we know that you don't make mistakes. You are perfect. So, Father, we're all created in your image, so no one is any better or any worse because of the color of their skin. We all have those same things we deal with, betrayals, joy, sadness, loss. And so in the end, Father, it all comes back to you. So, and trusting in you. So I lift this country up right now, all of the stuff that's going on. I lift up people that they will come alongside one another, encourage one another, love one another, and that's what it's all about, is being a follower of you. So being one of your followers and being a Christian means that we should be there for one another and lift each other up instead of what we're seeing a lot of on TV and hearing about. So we lift this country up to you right now. We appreciate the opportunity you've been giving us to do this training. And if it just keeps one person from making a mistake and not making it home to their families in one piece, then, Father, every bit of it's been worth it. Thank you so much for the men involved. Thanks for JP and Brylan and Jonathan and all these guys that have helped me out on this project. And, Father, I lift all the utility companies up and what they do every day. I don't know that they recognize the sacrificial work they do, but working for others and providing things for others and putting yourself on the line, that's what it's all about, and that is sacrificial. So thank you for them. Thank you for today. And most of all, of course, thank you for what your son did. If he hadn't died on that cross, then I couldn't even pray right now. So all of these things I ask and say according to the will of the one who paid it all, my brother, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. So we'll get some of the housekeeping stuff done. We're going to, of course, today is we're going to talk about an 8S meter site that we're on. This is kind of a super teaser, but there's actually some live stuff here that we shot that you'll get to see. Also, you can see here, we've got the schedule that's coming up today. We're talking about, like we said, this the 8S meter test. Next week, we're going to go more into it. It'll be part 2, where we go deeper into that site and into the testing and verification of the site. And I just want to make sure on the registration and that you know that if you go on to powermetrix.com/live, that you can just look at one of these webinars and you can look at it live that day. Okay, it's kind of like watching church service from the house. I mean, you can go on there live and watch it that day. But what I know JP would prefer is if you guys would register, then he will send you these reminders and let you know that it's coming, so that you know that the webinars are coming. So if you will send JP an email, then he will get you registered, and he is jarrett.peters@tec-usa.com. Okay, I'll say that one more time. It's Jarrett, Jarrett, .peters@TEC, that's our parent company, Technology for Energy Corporation, TEC-USA.com. And if you'll just send him an email, then he can get you registered and you'll be sent reminders, and you'll get on that list so that you'll know they're coming, and it'll give you a little reminder so you don't miss them. But as I said, if you just wanted to watch the one live, if you had a group of guys and you just wanted to watch it, that you could just go to powermetrix.com/live. Okay? Well, here's what we're doing. So what we've done is we're pretty excited about this. We have actually filmed live sessions at sites, and we have actually gone to sites the 3S, 4S, 5S, 6S, 8S, and 9S sites. So we have done overhead and underground at those sites. We've done inspections before we get started. It's not just about meter testing as well. We're talking about information you can get off pad mount transformers, using the heat guns, a lot of other things besides just going in there and doing a test, right? We don't just go in there, test the meters and the CTs and go to the next one. It's not that at all. We've tried to take our time. This is training. With the opportunity that we've gotten, we don't want to just blaze through it. So we've taken our time and we've actually broken it down into, we start from the very beginning, which is just inspecting the site when you roll up and what you look for. So today, what we're going to talk about is, this is one of the sites that we rolled up on. This is going to be the initial inspection of the site, so you get a taste of what we're going to do. And the fellow that I worked with on these first ones is Brylan Bates. He's one of our testers, sharp. He did really well on these. So it's Brylan doing most of the hands-on stuff, and as usual, me just running my gums on the side. But he did great on this, and you'll see him in these. And then coming up, the ones we're going to do now is actually going to be his supervisor, who is Jonathan Souders. So he'll be doing these last 2 days of filming that are going to be tomorrow and the next day. So we've got those guys. We've got a guy there working, and I'm kind of pointing some things out. The great part of this is, once again, the JP magic, we're going to be able to stop, and the resolution's incredible up at the top of the pole. So we'll be able to point things out, and we'll do that on these. We're going to break them down, take our time, and not rush through anything, as I said before. And we'll be able to point at the top of that pole and point things out to all of us to just help us to do a better job out there, and most importantly, do it safer. So today is just a short one at a site we went to, and you'll get to see kind of how this is going to roll. And so I'll let JP run it. And as I said, this is one of the sites that we went to, and I think what you're going to see here is going to be the initial inspection of the site. All right? Thanks. So here we are at another site, and got a couple of things pre-test that we want to talk about. Number one, you cannot trust what someone tells you at the utility about what the service is and what's going on there. I mean, we were told when we came out here that this was a Y configuration. You're going to see here in a minute, it's not. So as Brylan pointed out, you don't go by what people say. You go out there and you trust your eyes and what you've learned, and go by that. So that's what we did when we came out here. So it turned out it wasn't what we were told when we got out here. Another thing that I wanted to point out, we talk about, the inspection part of it. When we start, if we look up at the top, like we always do, if we look up at the top of it, you'll see that everything, we don't see anything. Looks like they got the wires a little bit better on this one, don't they, Brian? As far as we don't have them hanging everywhere like we've seen before. So we don't see them too loose, so this looks a little bit better. Looks like they've done a little bit harnessing on the wires up there, doesn't it? Yeah. So the wires do look better to me on this one up here. And if you look up at the top, we don't see any kind of rust or arcing or leaking or anything on the transformers. So we don't see anything up there that's scary to us. So that seems pretty straightforward. And we can look up there and see we got our 3 stacked CTs up top up there with the conductors running through them. So we see our 3 stacked CTs right there on that right-hand side of the pole. You can see them up there. And looking over at the conduit, you seen anything, Brian, that looks bad right now?
Yeah, this conduit up here, you can tell there's not a weatherhead on it. The wires just go straight down in there. Rain, birds, whatever. Sticks go right down in there. Birds try building a nest up there.
That's exactly
straight
right.
Down in the ground.
That's exactly right. So we mentioned this earlier on one of the other ones, but you never know because we're doing all these separately. So we're going to treat these individually, all of these training sessions. So we've mentioned that, and we're going to say it again, if you don't have some sort of a weatherhead or something covering the top of that conduit, you can get all kind of stuff down in there, and it can eventually make its way down. We've seen it in cans and stuff before where it can actually make it down into the cans. But so in this case, yeah, you got that open up there, which we don't like that too much. But as far as looking down here at the bottom too, it looks like the ground look okay to you?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. One thing I have noticed is the can's not grounded to the pole right here. There's your pole ground right there. Where's the wire coming to the can?
That's right. So you can see up in here, and we'll get down and looking, by the way, you know, we don't want to skip that, but down at the base of the pole or anything, we don't see any separation like we've talked about. You don't see any gaps down there where something might be leaning, where you've had some washout around the base of the pole. We're not seeing any of that, so that looks okay. So, but we, if you come back around over here to what Brylan's saying, if you look where we're at the back of the can right back here, right, Brylan?
Yes.
But there's nothing from there over to the pole ground. So we don't especially like that. That would be something that you would report back and mention to them, you know, that they might take a look at that, or have somebody come out there and just put a ground wire, run a ground wire over that pole ground, okay? Conduit here looks okay. And you got that top cover there, Brylan? Here you go.
Yes.
All right, so you can have one-piece covers or two-piece covers, and the discussion to come up earlier, they're asking, you know, should you get a one-piece or a two-piece? Should you take the top piece off? You know, and when you're just out there testing, you know, a lot of times, especially, you know, when you're got guys that are just trying to get one of them after another, trying to knock these things out. If they don't see anything crazy down in the bottom, a lot of times, wouldn't you agree, they're not going to take this top cover off, probably.
No.
Okay, but this is a case where, once again, the area that we're in and everything, you know, there's a lot of corrosion. You can see if you look in this can right here, there's a lot of corrosion and stuff getting in here. So we do have a lot of corrosion. The switches are pretty hard to actuate those switches, right? They're not opening and closing very easily. But notice if we hadn't taken this off, this top cover right here, we wouldn't have seen the big mud dauber nest up in there, right? So there is actually a reason to take them off, right? To take those, to take the top cover off and inspect the top as well. Because when you get into the top of it, when you get into the top of these things, you can also look across the top of them, can't you, Brylan?
Yes.
That way you might see one mud dauber nest over here, but maybe not see one that could be over on the back side of that thing.
There.
Back on the inside of it. So there is one school of thought that maybe you do take, if you got two-piece covers, take that top cover off too, just for inspection purposes, and take it off real quick. It might add about 5 more minutes to it or whatever if you do it, but then you would discover stuff like that. Because if you didn't, if we had just rock and rolled on this, we would have never seen that. And you never know, if that stuff starts breaking apart, just like Brown was just grabbing it, starts falling in between things, it could cause us some issues, okay? And especially if they got back there and built one on the other side over there. So, so that is, you might want to take these off just as general practices and take a look on the two-piece covers, take a look at the top as well, and don't worry just about the test switch, okay? Also, you might want to take the top off, all right? All right. Yeah, how many times have you been sent out there and told it was one service, but it, excuse me, but when it was all said and done, it wasn't actually that service out there. So trust, we talk about this all the time in the webinars that we've done in-house over there in Knox Vegas, is, excuse me, here and here, right? Best tools you've got. So, so make sure you confirm and don't make any assumptions of what it is, because for us that's doing the testing, it dictates what sort of a service type you're going to set up in the machine to do your test, right? So don't trust the paperwork that you're given. Do the inspection, look up there. You can go bottom up, doggone, or top down, either way. But do an inspection of that pole top to bottom. Look for things with the pole. Golly, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to grab water. Getting choked up.
He's just so excited.
I know. I'm just so happy. But you...
If y'all had seen the scramble starting at, what, 10:15?
Yeah. Yeah, a little quick one. We were going to do it in the meeting room, and they said that the meeting room was open here at the hotel. So we were all set up, and then this guy comes walking and goes, "What are y'all doing in here? I've got this room reserved." And it turned out they got their days wrong. So they told us it was open, but it wasn't. So then we scramble and run up here to JP's room and get everything set up. So I'm very tickled that everything worked out. So yeah, you do an inspection and you pick, it's like we talk about going left to right on the switches. Same thing, either top to bottom, bottom to top, doesn't matter. But do an inspection of that pole. Look things over, because here's the recurring theme that we need to say this more often. The meter techs are the eyes and ears of the utility on a continuous basis at these sites. Okay, the linemen go out there when there's an issue, the initial construction, all right, but after that, The meter techs are the ones that report these issues back to the utility company. And the linemen aren't going out there on a regular basis. They're off to the next job, next project, putting in a new line or correcting something that's been down, or you got down lines or doing that repair work. But the eyes and ears of all these sites on a continuous basis are the meter techs. So the meter techs do these inspections. They report things back that can be corrected, or issues that they know need to be corrected quickly, or just something to let somebody know about. Where we showed we didn't have connected to that pole ground, this site was at least 30 years old. So it was done differently back then, okay? They just ran the ground. If you saw that white wire there, they're just running back up through the CTs and going that way. They didn't actually connect at the pole ground. So you'll even run into situations where it's not necessarily incorrect. It's just at the time it was done, it was correct, okay? So this one is an old site. It's been there forever. So the thing is, back then they didn't do it that way, but you would want to report them because now they do want to connect to that pole ground. So you can just make a note of it that someone could come over there and make a connection over to that pole ground, okay? And also looking there in the top portion of the can, you know, there could have been something on the back side of there on that of your connections of that meter right there, the stabs and that across the top there, that it could have been worse than it was. And you get stuff, you know, that mud dauber nest over time is going to crumble up, and you start getting stuff falling down in there. So I think it would just be a general practice, a good idea to do an inspection of both top and bottom. But a lot of times, you know, a guy will take the bottom portion off, he'll connect up at that test switch, he'll perform his test, and he'll go on. But as you can see, if you do that, you could miss some things that could potentially cause problems for you at the utility. All right? So we're excited. That's just kind of giving you a taste of what's coming. We're going to go into more detail on things at that site. We're going to perform the tests. But you can see that at every one of these, we're going to do inspections. We're going to point out things that could have been done better, like covering up the top of that conduit up there would be a better idea so we don't get stuff falling down in there. It's amazing. On one of these, you're going to see, you're thinking, how in the world did that even get down there? And it had dropped stuff down in the back of the meter there, okay? And it got even into the test switch. So it even had stuff drop down into the back of that test switch. And so it is amazing what can happen out there. You know that, between animals and wind and all that. So it's very important to do these inspections. Once again, you're the eyes and ears, so you report the stuff, okay? So last but not least, as we said here, we've got coming up is going to be, next week is going to be the second part. We're going to stay on this site and move forward with it. Some interesting stuff happened you'll be able to see on the site. And so we're going to do the testing on it, but we're just really excited about this, very appreciative of getting the opportunity to do it. So we want to take our time and do as good a job as we can on this. Once again, this is training to do the job better, but as I worry more about, is that's just doing it safely, okay, for all you folks out there that are actually putting your hands on stuff. So I want to see everybody make it home to their families. All right, that's the most important thing. So we appreciate your time again. Looking forward to these ones coming forward. JP and I have got a lot of editing to do. We've got a lot of hours of footage, but I think we're going to come out with a finished product that you guys will be able to use moving forward, and hopefully it's going to be material for meter schools. It's just we're pretty excited about it. So thanks a lot out there at the Powermetrix Nation. We'll see you next week, and thanks from here in the hotel room. Thanks to JP for being able to pull this off. And just God bless y'all, and be careful out there, all right?